Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos and on this video this morning I am going to give you my post-match reaction for the Manchester City-Manchester United game that ended Manchester City 1, Manchester United 2 yesterday at the Etihad Stadium, and analysing it I think it is a fantastic result for us, and I think it's our best game so far this season. And you've got to say, it's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's best game so far, in his managerial career with Manchester United. Of course, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had made two changes, from the midweek victory against Tottenham and that. But you've got to say, the win yesterday against Man City and the win against Tottenham midweek, as you know, saved Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's managerial tenure at the football club, because obviously, reflecting back before the Tottenham game, Solskjaer was under intense pressure at Man United, and I think if we had lost to Tottenham and we hadn't beaten Man City. Yesterday, I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would have definitely been gone by next week. So Solskjaer has beaten Jose Mourinho, and he has beaten Pep Guardiola within 4 days, which is absolutely fantastic. But I've got to say, we deserved to win the game yesterday. I thought it was another really good performance by Man United. I think the performance replicated the performance against Tottenham, to be quite honest with you. And I'm shocked, with how we played in that. Obviously, the first goal was for Marcus Rashford after the 23rd minute, I think it was. Obviously, it was a penalty, the first goal. I think that's our 10th penalty so far this season. Rashford had been brought down. It was definitely a Stonewall penalty. Rashford had taken the penalty, well, obviously, sent Medicine the wrong way. And like I did take into account, Rashford is in, scintillating form. That's now 10 goals in his last 11 games for Man United. Now in total, since he broke into the senior squad back in 2016, Rashford has scored 58 goals in 191 appearances for the football club. But I think his record against the top six sides is also very, very good. Rashford, had a few decent chances, after he'd scored the first goal. Obviously, he missed his sitter. Fred had played Rashford through very, very well, but, Rashford's, did basically did everything but the finish, but it went wide. Rashford, of course, hit the crossbar. But then after that, we did go 2-0 up. It was Anthony Martial that put us 2-0 up, and it was a lovely interchange, between Daniel James and Anthony Martial. Good to see, Daniel James getting an assist. Martial took his goal well. I think it had come off the inside the post. Then, of course, we was 2-0 up. But, I think, was very, very good on the counter attack. We showed a lot of good pace. We also created chances. And I think, we should have scored more than 2 goals. I think we had chances, before we scored first. I think, we had chances. I think Daniel James had a decent chance. Martial had a decent chance, so he could have had more than 1 goal. Jesse Lingard had a fantastic chance in the second half. But I've got to say, Rashford was superb. I thought Fred, again, had a really, really good game. I thought, he totally controlled that midfield alongside McTominay. And I think recently, I've got to say, Fred and McTominay have complemented each other fantastically well. But definitely, Fred has rejuvenated himself. But we totally outnumbered Manchester City in that midfield, Obviously, there was a talking point as well. Obviously, there was talk saying that Man City should have had a penalty just before half time, because it said allegedly, Fred had handballed it. Solskjaer, of course, has called for a lifetime ban after a Man City fan has alleged to have racially abused Fred. I think of what I saw, he had a cigarette lighter thrown at him, but he definitely should be barred for life for that, and that. But yes, I was very, very impressed with Fred. Like I said, I was also very, very impressed there with McTominay and that. I still don't know if them two are both the long term solutions for Man United, but McTominay's done really, really well this season, and he has deserved to keep his players in the team. Reflecting on his impressive performances. And Wan-Bissaka had a fantastic game for us. I thought he definitely had Sterling in his pocket, but he showed. You know, his performance there was absolutely fantastic. And like I said, I do believe that Wan-Bissaka, can be our fullback for the next decade. But yeah, very, very good player. If he keeps this good run of form up, I'm definitely very convinced, that his valuation will persistently grow. But I think, his defensive distribution is absolutely fantastic. And how old is he? He's only 21 years of age. But I think actually, Fred had got man of the match. But some would say they would have. They would give it to Wan-Bissaka and that. But I think everyone put a shift in. I don't think Lingard did too bad either. So there was a lot of good individual performances in that, but I didn't expect us, to beat Man City yesterday. City, of course, grew into the game. Obviously, as the game went on, I think they improved a bit in the second half. Man City, of course, scored with Otamendi in the 85th minute mark. But obviously, it wasn't enough for Man City. So I think now, you can say Liverpool have won the league. Liverpool, of course, did beat Bournemouth by 3-0 yesterday at the Vitality Stadium. Liverpool have now won 15 games out of 16. They are 14 points clear of Man City. I think around 11 points in front of Leicester. So it's basically Liverpool's title now to lose. So it's looking like they're going to win their first Premier League title, but they haven't won it all in all for 30 years. Obviously as well, we did win some substitutions on in the game. Obviously, Andres Pereira came on for Anthony Martial in the second half. Ashley Young came on for Luke Shaw, and Tuanzebe, of course, came on for Jesse Lingard and that. But yeah, again, I've got to credit Solskjaer because I thought he tactically got it spot on. So now, reflecting on these two results, I think, it might have changed a lot of Man United's perceptions regarding Solskjaer now. Maybe they do feel as though he's the long-term solution for Man United. I've got to be honest, time will tell, basically. Obviously, City will be very, very disappointed. It's obviously, their fourth defeat of the Premier League season now. So I don't think, City, I'm very, very sceptical, that they're going to win the league this season. But, we've beaten the best team in England. I know the City have not performed to the standards as we expected from them this season. But, we have beat the best team in England. City have won back-to-back titles. City have won back-to-back titles. They're looking to win their third title on the trot. The last team to do that was us back in 2007, 2008, and of course 2009. Obviously, City finished on 98 points last season. A couple of seasons ago, they finished on 100 points. They're the only team to register 100 points in one season. So City, may not win any this season. That I know also they won the domestic treble last season. Did Man City, but they're not going to win the Premier League now. I'm very, very sceptical about them winning the Champions League because they haven't even got a pedigree in that, so I don't see that happening. And like I said, City are a really, really good team. They've got good players. They've got a fantastic manager. Pep Guardiola is regarded as one of the best managers in the world. Basically, because he's got a good pedigree behind him. Solskjaer and, Pep Guardiola are totally a comparison. And Solskjaer's come out on top of him, surprisingly. But, Pep Guardiola, I think at Man City, is emulating the football he did at Barcelona and Bayern Munich. And Man City have spent a hell of a lot of money. Pep Guardiola, I think, spent around over £1 billion in his managerial career. Obviously, the vast majority of that has been spent on that Manchester City team, and it was actually the 179th Manchester derby yesterday. Obviously, you may get some City fans, coming up with some excuses, saying that we didn't have Aguero. Obviously, he was out with a thigh injury. City have obviously got Leroy Sané out until February. They've got Laporte out until February, but that's not excusable because we've also had quite a lot of injuries. Don't forget, we've still got Paul Pogba out with an ankle injury. Martial initially was out. Obviously, Solskjaer did confirm before the game that he definitely will play parts of the game, but he wasn't sure if he would start. But Martial did initially start anywhere. Obviously, Bailly still out with an injury. Diego Dalot's still out with injury. Fossil Menzu still out. Matic still out with a minor problem. Rojo still out with injury, but we've all got them players I think now back in training, so it is good now that players are coming back from injury. But obviously, reflect on the amount of injuries we've had this season anyway. Solskjaer has had to make alterations in the squad. But with obviously reflecting back before the game anyway, Solskjaer had revealed that he still believes Manchester United are a bigger club than Manchester City, and you got to say at this present time, City are obviously better than us, but obviously overall, we're much better than Man City, historically, because we've had so much success over the years and that. We've obviously, won 20 Premier League 20 titles, 13 Premier League, 7 All First Divisions. Obviously won around 12 FA Cups, 3 European Cups, around 4 or 5 League Cups. So obviously, the vast majority of the silverware we've won anywhere, came under the Alex Ferguson era, because I think Alex Ferguson, won about 38 major honours. But yeah, overall, we're definitely a much bigger club than Man City, But yeah, and I've got to say, talking about Anthony Martial, I know he's been injured for large portions of this season, but I've got to say in the games that Anthony Martial's played in he has been absolutely tremendous. Like I said, Martial now has scored I think it's 54 goals in 187 appearances for the football club. So he has been very, very impressive. Martial, by the way, was playing central yesterday. And like I said, he seems to be more effective in that central position. I know it's not his predominant position. His predominant position is out wide, is Anthony Martial's. And that's where he's played for the entirety of his career with Man United so far. But this season, he has been operating in that number 9. But he has been so far a long-serving player for Man United. But I think this season, Martial is replicating, what he did in his debut season with the football club. Because obviously he did really, really well in his debut season under the Louis van Gaal Moreira. And we did get Martial at just the age of 19. We got Anthony Martial. Of course, he's now 24. Did turn 24 years of age recently in that. And he does have more inspiration anyway in that attacking third of the pitch, because he does hold the likes of Daniel James and Marcus Rashford, definitely. Daniel James, I've got to say, I've been very impressed with him this season. He's enjoyed a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. He's been a revelation. And I'm actually now surprised with the amount of games that Daniel James has played this season, because when we did sign Daniel James in the summer, I did obviously expect him to play for us this season, but I didn't expect him to play, as many games to the extent as he has done. But he deserves to keep his place in the team, because, Daniel James has been very, very impressive. I've got to be honest about that, but I still say he's still a prospect and he needs time to develop anywhere. But I think, you've got to say, the 3 signings that Solskjaer recommended into the football club in the summer have arguably now been our best players. And, we spent nearly £150 million on Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka and on Harry Maguire. So we did spend a substantial amount on them. I've also been very, very impressed with Harry Maguire. He's also enjoyed a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. So, I've been very, very impressed. With a win against City as well yesterday, it has now put us up to fifth in the league. It's put us up to fifth in the league. It's our sixth win in the Premier League this season, and now we just remain 5 points behind top four. So we now have registered 24 points from 16 league games. But the good news is Chelsea lost to Everton 3-1 yesterday, so now we are only 5 points behind top four. And like I said, there's every chance now. We could still get that top four. I know I said before I disregarded it and I was very sceptical about it. But 5 points is definitely now catchable in that. And I did initially say our expectations this season will be to finish in that top four. So obviously, we can get in Champions League football. Because like I said, Champions League football is very imperative, especially, when you do want to attract players to the elite level. So we could still get Champions League football secured for next season. If we don't obviously get the top four this season, then obviously, we've got to be hopeful that we can win the Europa League. So then in that aspect, we get automatic qualification for the Champions League. And I think, we are definitely, good enough to win the Europa League. We're into the knockout stages of the Europa League. We progressed to the knockouts after 4 games. We've played 5 games in the Europa League, and these, of course, still 1 game remaining. But I still believe that could be our only route to Champions League football and that. But like I said, and like I said on my preview, building up to the Man City Man United game, I said to you, didn't I, that I know we've enjoyed my worst start to a Premier League season for 30 years, and I know we've enjoyed a lot of bad games this season. The performances haven't been up to scratch, and the results haven't been good enough. But I still think we've had good games this season, and we seem to play really, really well against elite opposition, because we've had good results this season. Beating Man City yesterday, beating Tottenham midweek, and we didn't expect to win any of those games. We beat Leicester earlier on in the season. They've been fantastic so far this season. We drew with Liverpool earlier on this season. We're the only team to take many points from Liverpool in the Premier League. We beat Chelsea earlier at the beginning of the season by 4 goals to nil. It just seems to me that we seem to be struggling against the lower opposition and that, which seems to be daft. So we've got to improve our record now against the lower opposition and that. And we've lost 4 games so far this season. Obviously we lost at home to Palace. We shouldn't have lost that game. We lost away to West Ham, we shouldn't have lost that. We lost away to Newcastle, we shouldn't have lost that. We lost away to Bournemouth, we shouldn't have lost that. So, arguably, you can say, where we shouldn't have lost many of them games. Solskjaer feels as though that we have drawn too many games, we've drawn too many games, obviously, and I think some of them games we have drawn this season, you could say, where we should have arguably won, and that. But we've actually performed well in certain games this season and that. But like I said, it was a very, very good result against Man City and that. And obviously now we go. Next game is Alkmaar in the Europa League. It's our final game of the Europa League. And then after that, we do go against Everton. So obviously, that's another game that Man United should be winning. But I think now a lot of pressure has definitely eased off Mulligan and Solskjaer. I'm very convinced that he will be here in January. I think that probably the club are willing to give him at least a couple more windows to see who else he can recommend in to the football club. So I can probably say Solskjaer will still be here at the end of the season. I'm still probably sceptical about him seeing out his 3-year contract at Man United. I don't see that happening as yet. Like I said, my perceptions haven't really changed regarding him. I still don't think from my own perception is the right manager for Man United, because like I said before, one good result or a good couple of results doesn't change my perception regarding him. But obviously, if we do sack Solskjaer, any time within this 3-year period, obviously, it's going to cost the club to get rid of him. Obviously, we'll have to. I don't know I don't know what we'll have to pay, but we'll obviously, we'll have to pay something in compensation. But, Man United, will not get rid of him at this present time. But obviously, Solskjaer's perception and Ed Woodward's perception, this season especially so far has been totally comparison, to my perception, a lot of Manchester United fans' perceptions, because, a lot of Man United fans this season have been demanding Solskjaer out of the football club. They've obviously, been demanding Ed Woodward out, they've been demanding the Glazers and that out. But, Solskjaer feels as though he's the right man to elevate Man United forward. Ed Woodward, feels as though that Solskjaer's the right man, because recently he said he is determined to stand by Solskjaer, and that I know there was reports emerging out saying that, if the bad run of form, was to continue to persist, then, then we may consider sacking Mulligan and Solskjaer, but it isn't, going to happen. And we know, obviously, managers have been sacked left, right, and centre recently. Obviously, you got Marco Silva recently sacked from Everton. I think Duncan Ferguson's taken over on a temporary basis. Good win for Everton yesterday against Chelsea. Obviously, Arsenal sacked Unai Emery, the other week, after just 18 months in charge. Watford sacked Sanchez Flores after less than 3 months in charge, and Tottenham did sack Mauricio Pochettino, was it last month? So managers, of course, are getting sacked left, right, and centre. And luckily, Solskjaer is not following their footsteps. But Solskjaer now in total has been at Man United now for almost a year. It is almost a year now. He's been permanent manager for around 9 months, and you can say Solskjaer's, for the vast majority of the 9 months he's been permanent manager, he's enjoyed a very difficult time in comparison to his time, when he was the interim manager in that 3-month period, because I've got to take into account Solskjaer did really, really well in that 3-month period. But I think, he's still got plenty of time, to turn around his managerial tenure at the football club, and I hope his managerial tenure now does become successful in that, because regardless of what happens, whether it works out for him at Man United or whether he doesn't, we'll still never forget, what he has done for the football club, Solskjaer. Like I said, he was a fantastic player for us for 11 years under Alex Ferguson and that. As a player, Solskjaer made in total 366 appearances and scored 126 goals. One of his most iconic moments as a player, obviously, was back in 1999 when he, scored the goal to win the club the treble. That's obviously, one of the club's greatest achievements in that. And he has got that proven pedigree as a player. I think, to be fair, as a manager, he's totally comparison to how he was as a player, because I don't really think he's got a pedigree behind him, in terms of management and that. But like I said, that still doesn't mean, it isn't going to work out for him at Manchester United. But I said anyway, us getting rid of Solskjaer now, or especially at this present time, or in the future, probably wouldn't solve a lot of problems, if any, at the football club, because we don't want to keep persistently sacking managers, because, it isn't the answer. Because we've already sacked 3 managers since the Alex Ferguson era. Obviously, David Moyes got sacked after 10 months. He got recommended in by Ferguson. It was one of the mistakes Ferguson made. Well, it was only the mistake Ferguson made, was recommending David Moyes in. He enjoyed 10 months, so he had the shortest tenure with the football club. Then obviously, he got sacked. Van Gaal came in. He lasted just over a year. He got sacked despite the fact he won the FA Cup. And then obviously, after that, we recommended Jose Mourinho win. And Jose Mourinho enjoyed a 2.5-year tenure at Manchester United. Didn't work out for him, despite the fact that he won the Europa League and League Cup in his first season. But I did give the variety of reasons why it didn't work out under the Jose Mourinho era. Is because obviously, he had bad disputes with the board, bad disputes with the top players. Some of the you know, the board went back in the signings that I wanted to recommend in to the football club last summer and that. And Jose Mourinho spent a substantial amount at the club. You know, he spent, was it 400 million or just under 400 million pounds on 11 players. And the vast majority of our team now are Jose Mourinho's, don't forget. So take into account Solskjaer is inheriting the vast majority of them, you know. He's inheriting the vast majority of them. But I've got to say, you know, Jose Mourinho, I think, has enjoyed a fantastic start to his managerial career with Tottenham. You know, he's won 3 games out of 4. Tottenham, you know, bounced back from that 2-1 defeat against us midweek. You know, they comfortably beat Burnley by 5 goals to 0. But I do believe, you know, Jose Mourinho will definitely succeed at Tottenham. He's a very, very good manager so far. He's won 25 major honours in his managerial career. He's managed a variety of clubs and that emulated himself up over the years, but he will definitely succeed at Tottenham, will Jose Mourinho. But yeah, so and like I updated you guys recently, this was actually before the game against Man City. It did say that our players I've actually, urged the board not to sack Ole Gunnar Solskjaer because, the players are, willing to keep faith in him and that. So obviously, that's very, very good news because the board did actually, ask about, the possibility of us, sacking Solskjaer, but, the players are still determined, to back Solskjaer and that. And we do know next year it's very imperative that we do recruit, the right calibre players to Manchester United because, definitely more signings are needed. I think next year, we need at least 5 to 6 more signings, arguably even more, if we are to be back, to being a competitive elite level football club. And if we are, to back, being a, title contenders and all that. So that's very, very imperative. We've next year, we've got to address the deficiencies in the squad. We've definitely got to get an attacking midfielder. We've also got to get a defensive midfielder. We definitely need to recruit a replacement for Ander Herrera. I think we also need to get a striker, and I think we need a couple of attackers in. We need to definitely recruit a replacement for Romelu Lukaku and Alexis Sanchez, because you can say for the vast majority of this season, we have looked very exposed in that attacking line. But I think that midfield, that attacking line are the 2 main priority areas where we need to strengthen up. You could say we need a right winner. There's possibly other areas in the squad as well that do need to be addressed. But I think Solskjaer definitely will be here in January. Probably will be here at the end of the season. But I think, our current board did confirm anyway at the start of this season, regardless of the outcome this season, Solskjaer's job will be safe. Because I think the board realised, that they didn't back him enough during the course of the summer. But analysing it, our recruitment's been very poor. Not only recently, it's been very poor for several years. And in that aspect, the blame does stem from the board. Because I think we need to get rid of our current board. And they've been accountable, this season, as well as Solskjaer and Ed Woodward and that. But I do believe, we need to get rid of our current board. I also still believe we need to get rid of Ed Woodward because, he doesn't seem to care what's going on the pitch and that. He's a liability, so he replicates the board, definitely. Don't forget, Ed Woodward did a recently assure Galactico signings at Man United. And I think, there is still more players that need to leave the football club, definitely. I still think, we need to get rid of at least another 5 or 6 more players next year. I know a lot of players have left since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival and that. Obviously, we know the players that left, Valencia left at the end of last season. Smalling went out on loan to Roma and that. Obviously, you got Darmian that went to Parma. Herrera went to PSG on a 3 transfer. Will let his contract run down. Fellaini went to China in January. Lukaku, Sanchez left. Obviously, Dean Enson's out on loan with Sheffield United. You know, Joe Pereira, I think, went out on loan, was it, to Hearts? So quite a few players have left. But, you know, there's definitely more players that do need to leave. I think Young needs to go. He's definitely, you know, one of the problematic players. You know, he's past his sell-by date now at the football club as Young. He's 34. He is now nearly 35 years of age. I think he's 35 next year. He's been a long-serving player at the football club. He's been here since the Ferguson era. You know, we shouldn't have given Young that new one-year extension last season. He has played on a regular basis this season as Ashley Young. Hasn't played too often recently. But we've got a variety of fullbacks in the team anywhere that can compete like Solskjaer recently mentioned. I think we've also got to get rid of Jones. I think he's another one of the problematic players at the club. And I think his appearances now are obviously limited at Man United anywhere, because Solskjaer's first choice centre-backs are Lindelof and Harry Maguire. Jones needs to be moved on. Jones has been here more or less the same amount of time as Ashley Young. Jones is now into his 9th season at the football club, and we shouldn't have given Jones that new long-term contract last season. Matic, he's initially lost his place in the team. I know he's been injured recently, but he's initially lost his place in the team due to his inconsistency. Matic has been very inconsistent. It was comparison to last season, because actually last season he was first choice. Matic isn't getting any younger. He's now I think he's 31. I've got so many strong reservations about him. You know, his first touch concerns me too slow, and he makes that midfielder look totally imbalanced. It would be beneficial if we could cash in for Matic in January, but maybe we could lose him on a free transfer at the end of the season, because his current contract does come to an end at the end of this season. You know, does the Man U matches. We do actually, you know, have an option to extend it by a further year and that. So yeah, definitely more players do need to go in that. I think, you know, we need to get rid of some of the young upcoming players as well next year. That would also be very beneficial, definitely. Like I said to you on my recent videos, I think, you know, some of our young upcoming players, you know, will become a success at the football club and that. But we have got a lot of young players in the team. You know, we're still keen on recruiting more young players into the football club. But I can definitely assure that the likes of Mason Greenwood, you know, Brandon Williams, Tuanzebe, Garner, I think all of them will all, you know, succeed at Manchester United, especially, you know, Brandon Williams. You know, Solskjaer now obviously, you know, views Brandon Williams as his first choice left back. I've got to say he's a much better solution than Young. You've got to say now he's a better solution than Luke Shaw. I know he didn't obviously play yesterday, Brandon Williams and that, but I think in the games he has played in, he has been absolutely fantastic. Taking into account as well, he knows Ethan Laird well, does Brandon Williams, because, you know, they played up through the years together and that, like Solskjaer said the other week. But yeah, but it was actually, you know, like I said, Luke Shaw that played yesterday, you know, that's his first start from the start, I think, since, I can't remember, it's a while ago anyway. That's his first start from the start. But, you know, Luke Shaw is still a very imperative player. Don't get me wrong, you know, we are still aware the difference he does make on that left hand side. Regarding Mason Greenwood, very, very good player. Only at the age of 18 and that, you know, obviously, I think his comparison to Rashford and Martial at the moment, but I think as he develops more, he will, you know, graduate, you know, to their level. And I think eventually, anyway, like I said in my recent videos, he will overcome Marcus Rashford eventually. And he'll eventually, you know, become a better goal scorer than Rashford. But Greenwood has scored 4 senior goals for the football club this season. And so far this season, the senior squad is replicating, you know, what he did with the reserves last season. So, fair play to Mason Greenwood. And fair play to him. And Tuanzebe, I think, in the games he's played in this season, he's been fantastic. He's just recently, you know, come back from a hip injury, which is very, very good news. You know, James Garner, I think, in the games he's played in this season, he's also been very, very good. But I've got element of concerns regarding Chon. I've got element of concerns regarding Andres Pereira. I think, you know, they are definitely, you know, 2 of the young players we need to move on. Maybe perhaps Angel Gomez will put him into the equation. Maybe he needs to be moved on. But you've had a lot of Manchester United fans recently anyway criticising Andres Pereira and that. Because obviously, when McTominay was out with that ankle problem, when he missed the last 3 games before the Tottenham game, we had to mainly go over midfield of Andres Pereira and Fred. And obviously, we know it wasn't really working out and that. So, and Andres Pereira has had a lot of bad games this season, but probably isn't good enough for Man United. But I think the midfield of McTominay and Fred, looks very, very good. And we know McTominay and Fred are not two Galactico midfielders, but I think, maybe they could emulate into two Galactico midfielders, hopefully. Obviously, we know they're both totally comparison to Paul Pogba and that. And, Paul Pogba's been a big miss in that midfield. He hasn't played since September, due to this ankle injury. Solskjaer, not too long ago, defended Paul Pogba's professionalism. And he did actually say, when Paul Pogba does return from injury, it will be like a new world-class signing. So Solskjaer knows deep down anywhere how much of an imperative player that Paul Pogba is. I still believe that Paul Pogba does want out of the football club, like he did do for the entirety of the summer. Because for the entirety of the summer, he was relentlessly linked with a move to Real Madrid and that. And I think Real Madrid are orchestrating on getting, Paul Pogba next year. I think recent reports did indicate out, saying now that Real Madrid are only willing to pay up to £50 million for Pogba. So I'm very sceptical that Man United will go along with this. If we are to soften our stance on Paul Pogba next year, we're going to want to, generate a substantial amount. We're going to want over the £100 million, definitely, like we did do during the summer and that. But I still think his preference still is a move to Real Madrid. I know there was reports about him going back to Juventus in the summer and that, because Paul Pogba did endure 4 good years in Germany and that. And I think in the vast majority of his career with Man United, since he rejoined from Juventus, his performances have been totally comparison to what we saw at Juventus. Like I said, we mainly saw the best of Paul Pogba in that 3-month period when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the interim manager. But he's arguably one of the best midfielders in the world, when he's, playing to his potential best in that. And he's still only 26, and he has still got a lot of development in him, and he is still actually now in his prime. But Paul Pogba revealed at the beginning of the summer anyway that he obviously wanted to leave Man United because he was seeking for a new challenge in that. But regardless of whether Paul Pogba stays or goes anywhere, we have got to address that midfield, definitely. But, I think Fred is, to be fair though, Fred, I think has fulfilled his position well, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. But Paul Pogba, should be back from this. He should be close now to returning from injury. So Pogba actually, should be back for the Everton game, which I think is on the 15th of this month. Definitely should be back for that. Paul Pogba, should be back for that game against Everton. But I've got to say, Solskjaer's inheriting a good squad. He is inheriting a good squad, he's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. We have got a lot of good players in our team, take into consideration, the amount of money that's been invested into the football club over the years. In all the managerial areas, since the Ferguson era, I think we spent, around £600-700 million on recruiting new players over the years. We haven't only spent big on players, we've also got players on big contracts in that at the football club. We're not good enough to win the league at the moment, as we all know. We're not good enough to mount any kind of title challenge up. We haven't won the league since 2013, and that was obviously, of course, in Alex Ferguson's last season, the last time I won the league. So we haven't won it now for nearly 7 years. But, I don't think we're going to win it at least for the next couple of years. It's basically dependent on, how, we are with our, what we do in the next couple of windows. We've got to, to get the right calibre players in, like I said. I think at an estimated guess next year, we're orchestrating on spending from, this is an estimated guess, from probably between 250 to 300 million pounds recruiting new players, because a massive rebuild is needed in the football club. Obviously, I know I've said on my recent videos, we need to see a variety of changes at Man United. Like I said, I think we need to, we need to change of management. We need to get a new board and that in. But maybe now, I could be living to regret, what I've said about that on recent videos. Maybe I could be proven wrong. Maybe Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, will, succeed at Man United. And I hope I'm wrong, to be quite honest, because I love Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and that. So I'm hoping to be proven wrong, definitely. I'm hoping to be proven wrong. But I want it definitely. I want Solskjaer's managerial tenure, to work out at the football club, definitely. Like I said to you, I know there's been, a couple of managers on our agenda, who could replace Solskjaer at the football club. I know, obviously, there was talks of Pochettino coming in. This was obviously before the Tottenham game. It actually got revealed that Mauricio Pochettino wants to take the Man United job. He initially wanted to take the managerial role at Man United after the dismissal of Jose Mourinho in December of last year and that. But obviously, like I said, our preference was Solskjaer because obviously, Solskjaer was the cheapest solution that, and Solskjaer, like I said, enjoyed a good 3 month period as interim manager, so obviously we decided to keep him on, and then Pochettino was out of the equation and that. But obviously, there's still reports emerging out saying that he could become Man United's next manager and that. If Solskjaer was to be sacked at any point within these 3 years, I think he would be Man United's next manager, unless, Pochettino obviously, gets another job, because he hasn't only been linked with a managerial role at Man United. Obviously, there's EL talks with Bayern Munich the other week. I think it could be imminent that he could go to Munich. Obviously, he's been talks about him going to Real Madrid. Been talks about him going to Arsenal. I'm very sceptical he'll go to Arsenal, to be quite honest with you. Who's going to take over at Arsenal? Obviously, they've got Ljungberg in at the moment on a temporary basis. He isn't going to do any good for them. Ljungberg, well, I think if he continues to manage Arsenal, he'll ruin his legacy because he was a great player, but I think he's not good enough as a manager. I think the job's too big for him at Arsenal. But Arsenal have got a lot of managers on their agenda, who could replace Unai Emery and all that. But Pochettino, I don't think will take over Arsenal now. I don't think he'd cost out now anywhere. I don't think he'd cost out because he's managerless. I think it did say if he was to take another job in the Premier League, he'd have to pay around 12.5 million. Something to do with some kind of clause he did have in his contract and that. But he is a very, very good manager, he's Pochettino, and I think his comparison to Solskjaer, I think he's actually a better manager than Solskjaer and that. But I think, reflecting on our win against City and Tottenham, now we've got to say he's out of the equation now. So too is Massimiliano Allegri, because there's obviously been talks of him, becoming our, next manager. And that at one point it said allegedly Massimiliano Allegri was our primary candidate. But we are definitely, going to stick with Solskjaer for now. But yeah. So yeah, like I said, that's your match reaction for the Man City Man United game, and everything else. Drop your comments, likes, below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very soon.